since we spoke about, you compared the SaaS versus AI and people building their own stuff, and this is whole narrative going on in in the stock market because of which all the SaaS stocks are getting crushed. And one part of the narrative is that enterprises will replace their SaaS; they'll just wipe code it with AI. Such a what are you seeing on the ground? Is that just a narrative? Is there any legs to that thing?
Yeah, so it's no different than when the SaaS products came in and they replaced the human workforce, the human process within the workforce, right? Imagine before Salesforce, you had massive manual paper-based processes where people would walk into the office with their sales orders. Someone would then go type those sales orders onto a form, and then those forms would get input into, and so on and so forth. And then Salesforce showed up and they said, no, 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 just define your opportunity. We'll help you through the opportunity stages in your sales process, and then we'll help you manage this at scale, right? If everything changed. The same thing is probably happening. The question that everybody should be asking is not if it's going to replace, and I'm not talking about Salesforce in particular. You asked a question about SaaS in general. It's not whether or not this revolution with AI is going to have an effect like SaaS did on human process before. The question is how long and how entrenched, because everybody knows that all enterprises live at different grades of maturity, different grades of capability, different needs at different times, different levels of customization, et cetera. And so is everybody going out and replacing their SaaS software today? No. The market reacted because they see the potential, and that's what happens in the market, and that's why there's fluctuations. And there are companies that are replacing elements of their SaaS products, modules within their SaaS products. But some companies may have found success in wholesale replacing a SaaS product or two. But again, those are very tip of the sphere examples within a wide view of enterprise that has different needs and different capabilities. And so will it happen? Maybe 100%. I don't know. I don't think so. But the question is, how long will it take to have a meaningful effect on the bottom line?
Right, right. Makes sense. So one part of replacing SaaS is replacing SaaS with AI equivalent of SaaS. The other part of replacing SaaS is a company saying, hey, why should I pay Salesforce $500,000 a year? It's really easy to code using Claude Code right now. I'm going to spend $50,000, cloud it, and own my own Salesforce. Do you think that is a trend that you're seeing might happen?
I think there it's a micro trend right now,
Okay.
and what's happening is at least from my vantage point, right? And I have some empirical evidence of this, but you've got a team of people that happen to have the right intersection of software engineering, AI development experience, or AI engineering experience, and the function expertise that you need to replace that SaaS tool, right? So whatever the SaaS be, let's call it, a CRM function. It doesn't have to be Salesforce because there's many of them out there. If you have somebody that says, I can go replace opportunity management within my CRM, they know enough about that. It's going to cost you, it's going to cost them, somewhere on the order of magnitude of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in token consumption to get that module up and running in an enterprise grade and usable way that meets the expectations of all of the people that have been using that SaaS product for how long? And so then the question then becomes, have you thought through what it means to put that one module into production that still has to operate in conjunction with the rest of the CRM that you have from the SaaS provider? And do you have the right type of AI ops support capabilities, monitoring, observability, scaling and infrastructure, like all of those things, security, integration, like there's a whole host of rebuilding call it a flanker IT function, right? That has now tier one mission critical application processes being built next to your real estate. That's a lot that you have to think through before you can just say, I'm going to vibe code my way through an opportunity management system. So is it happening? Yep, it's happening. I don't know that people have found or companies have found the sweet spot yet relative to how to go affect that level of change and how to get the CIOs and CTOs of the day comfortable with what's happening and how it'll be interoperable within the context of we still have to run a business. And if that thing fails or breaks or goes awry and there's no SaaS product to fall back on,
Yeah.
then what?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Which is, if you have the bandwidth and the tokens to do on something, why go fix something that's already working? Let's invest that into something new, net new stuff, right?
Yeah, so Benny, it's interesting because even here, what I find myself telling people all the time is just because you can go do it doesn't mean you should. Right? It's a very basic premise because there's 100 things that we can go build to offset spend within software today. Should we be using our precious dollars and tokens to go rebuild our CRM of the day, our people management system of the day, our ERP? Or should we be going after, the long tail of costs that's represented by instances of this and, custom things of that? Like that's where all of your cost efficiencies are going to sit, not going to replace wholesale SaaS software yet, right? But that long tail also represents a meaningful build of momentum and experience that you need in order to go after the bigger thing. So take that as the parallel to 1 + 1 = 5.